Good morning, hello and welcome to Trading Hour. I'm Surabhi Upadhyay and with me as always is Prashant Nair, and we've got some green back on the screen for now. Though the banks are still a bit of a trouble spot, but nonetheless, there is about a 0.5% gain on the Nifty, and there are different legs to the market today. Auto stocks doing better, a couple of metal names doing better. We'll analyze all of these trends and get you lots of very interesting opinion through the next 1 hour. But first, let me go across and say hi to Prashant. Prashant, good morning.
Surabhi, hi, good morning. A nice, easy session, 50 points on the Nifty. Although I think, the concerns with regards to banks is starting to come to the fore a little bit more. Starting last Friday, we had the RBI financial stability report. Over the weekend. We had numbers from ICICI Bank. Then yesterday we had numbers from Kotak Bank, cautious commentary from Kotak later on the call. So it's showing up in Bank Nifty, which is down about 0.68. So it's underperforming what the rest of the market is doing, and maybe rightly so. ICICI is taking another dive. The numbers over the weekend were good. The stock sold off 6% yesterday. It's down another 3.5% today. I would suspect that with ICICI, what the market is building in is probably a large capital raise pretty soon, which perhaps would mean that they have to offer a decent discount. So it's down almost 10% since the results. So that's pretty large for a name like ICICI. And within the top tier banking names, ICICI was the underperformer in any case. So on top of that, this kind of correction on numbers which were pretty decent in the environment we're in. I think that points to not concerns, but just expectation that there would be a large round of capital raise like others are doing. ICICI would do it as well. We'll come to some of this in more detail in a bit from now and talk about the here and now in terms of what's going on. But let me go across straight to a market veteran, really. Srini Srinivasan is Managing Director at Kotak Investment Advisors Limited. Somebody who's been in the market for a long time in various roles, various capacities. Now, of course, oversees a plethora of businesses ranging from private equity, special situations, real estate, infrastructure, and more. So, Srini, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. Thanks very much for joining us here. I want to just pick your brains to try and understand first up, how are you thinking about, this seemingly clear disconnect between what we're seeing in the market and what we are hearing from the ground up. How do you explain it? And what is the market already pricing in where it is trading at right now?
Well, I'm as clueless as you are in terms of why the market is running ahead of itself. Obviously, it's driven by liquidity. It's also driven by a few companies which have a very significant weightage on the index, and that's pulling the market up. I suspect that there is a disconnect between what's happening at the ground and what the market is actually discounting. I find it a little surprising that in the month of January, the market did not know what was coming up in March. But today we are sitting in June and we are ignoring what's going to happen in March 2021. And the market seems to be discounting March 2022 earnings. So if the market didn't know what was coming in like 45 days time, I don't know how we can underwrite something that's going to happen 18 months down the road.
So would you say some of it, of course, is you can explain it by this entire gush of liquidity, endless amounts of money creation by global central banks, and that rubs off around the world as well. But would you believe that is enough to sustain us through? People have almost, as you said, cancelled out 2020, and they're saying, well, let's talk about next year earnings.
Yeah, look, I think at some level, if you look at some of the institutional flows, there is a expectation that probably we will get over this. The world hasn't stopped despite various other disasters that we have had in the past, and there is an expectation that we will come out of this too. So, which is the optimistic view, which I have no problem with. I think the expectation fundamentally in our case is actually built on an expectation of a series of policy actions, and I've also, opined that, our government really works, and we've seen this since 1991, when we have our backs to the wall and we really don't have a choice. And generally, we have in the past not wasted a crisis. So the expectation this time around, I guess, is that we will not waste this crisis. We have seen some policy action from regulators, from the central bank, but I think the market's expectation is much more from the government.
Srini, good morning. So much more from the Indian government in the local context. I imagine that's what you're alluding to. Because, barring all the global liquidity that might have found its way to our market, in terms of policy action here in India, is the market sensing something more? And what would you put your finger on?
Well, I'm not sure whether the market is sensing something more, but I can certainly say the market would be expecting something more. To give you an example, I think, while we have sort of taken care of the immediate liquidity related issues, the larger issues still need to be fixed. For example, first of all, these, repeated shutdowns in different parts of the country is not really helping the economy. Secondly, if you look at the data points, I think the recovery is not going to be easy, and it is not going to come soon enough unless there is a very serious, investment program that the government actually indulges in. Because today we have a demand side problem, and that demand side problem cannot be financed from the financial sector, which has its own set of challenges. So there are three problems that we need to sort with. We need to solve the financial sector problems if we have to finance what we want to build. And the government has to move forward at least on 2 or 3 major reforms for it to enable the demand side to pick up. And the 2 major reforms which is still undone, which needs to be paid attention to, is labor and land reforms. Most other areas, I think we've opened up the economy pretty significantly. The government has sort of opened the walls for global institutional capital to flow in. I was very happy to see that the government's recent notification enabling pension funds and others to come in. But the reality of it is that if you don't solve these 2 fundamental problems, this whole scheme that we're going to have more companies to come and manufacture in India, we're going to create manufacturing jobs, etc., that can come apart, because if you don't have to solve the labor and land problems, it's not easy for a manufacturer to come and set up a plant and actually create employment here.
Okay. All right, Srini, so those are sort of the bigger reforms on the medium-term horizon. Now, let me ask you about the financial sector specifically. And we heard it in the industry event yesterday, where most of the bankers were asking for the one-time restructuring from the central bank. Now, is that something that's already kind of baked in stock prices? Because we've also seen the correction set in as the market digests the RBI's projections of NPS going forward.
Look, I think the market has already made a distinction between the banks that they believe or the financial institutions that they believe will actually come through this crisis, and those which have real challenges in their balance sheet. So whether even the one-time restructuring is going to help some of those cases is questionable. We don't have a choice but to actually bite the bullet and see some level of consolidation in the industry. And there is obviously a requirement for a massive dose of capital to actually come in. Now, where is that capital going to come in? The bigger boys have been able to raise the capital from the market, but the ones which are weaker are currently not seeing any capital coming into them, whether it is NBFCs or whether it is smaller banks. The euphoria that was taking the entire financial sector stocks up actually gave some hope for some of the other weaker players to raise some capital. But with most recent results, etc., and the fact that at this point in time, there is a divided view with regard to one-time restructuring should be allowed or not, it's not going to be easy for the smaller players to be able to raise capital. And that is not going to solve the broader problem of, credit demand, and B, the ability to actually put out the credit. The risk averseness is not going to go away soon.
But we are seeing, IndusInd, for example, has talked about raising money. We have RBL, there have been news reports that they're in talks to raise money. The larger ones, of course, have outlined clearly that they plan to raise large amounts of money. Are you saying that it's going to be a struggle for the smaller tier banks to get the money?
My sense is that the weaker the balance sheet, the more challenging it's going to be. And the Yes Bank example is a good one. It's a very weak balance sheet. The issue did not get a full subscription. It barely scraped through. So you can imagine that, other weaker players, and Yes Bank, mind you, had a plethora of very large players who were actually supporting the bank. But imagine others who don't have that kind of support. Do you think they're going to, in my opinion, they're going to struggle to be able to raise capital?
Srini, tell us what is the mood amongst, you got a bird's eye view across various strategies and you come in contact with all kinds of investors who are looking at assets here locally. How is the institutional side positioned? I mean, are there real doubts about potential sort of, medium to longer term growth trajectory? People like Akash Prakash have been pointing to it quite a bit recently in their writings, etc. Do you sense that when you speak with investors, or do you think they're sanguine that, beyond this COVID-related year, things will pick up?
The choices for global investors to pick on markets as to where they want to invest is rapidly changing as geopolitics actually changes. To give you an example, many of the investors would club India, China, and Asia together at one point in time from a global allocation point of view. Today, I think people will revisit that. Have we become a specific country allocation asset class with global institutional investors? The answer is no. Having said that, is there a greater level of interest to try and see what they can do in India? Sure, there is. And just yesterday, I was part of a program hosted by the Asia Pacific Real Estate Association where Mr. Piyush Goyal was there. And we had probably almost $1 trillion worth of capital providers in terms of pension funds and sovereign wealth funds interacting and asking questions. I think people are hopeful that we will be able to come out of this, but they are not yet opening up their wallets. Having said that, from a broader investment horizon point of view, the greatest opportunity today is that if you look at the credit markets in India, while credit demand is difficult, banks are not lending money. There are a number of situations which require financing, all the way from, let's say, a 12-13% return all to more than 20% kind of return. It depends upon the risk appetite of the investor. And as we speak to a lot of investors, I think people are trying to judge which part of the risk-reward spectrum that they would like to actually put their bets on. And they should be able to, if we stabilize in terms of what's happening on the COVID side, as well as, the policies that are coming out, we should be able to get more capital into the country. And the new policies with regard to welcoming global institutional capital is a right step in the right direction.
Got it. Srini, thank you very much. Appreciate you joining in and running us through that perspective about where we stand in terms of global allocation of capital and growth prospects as you see it. Thanks indeed. So, I mean, a lot of what Srini is pointing to, does rest on the case that many have that the government will at some point intervene and repair the demand side of the situation, because as he pointed out, I mean, it's not possible that it will come from the financial institutions because they themselves are looking for capital. So the government is the loan entity which may need to step in. So that's the view from Kotak Investment Advisors. The market is up about 55 points. We are at 11,186 and things are looking pretty all right. Lots of things to talk about in terms of individual stories, individual stocks. Right in the beginning, I discussed ICICI Bank. We'll come back to that a little later. I mean, it's as I said, 9-10% drop post the results. Is this on expectations of capital raise? We'll talk about that. More coming up on commodities in just a bit.